Hi guys. I feel like it's been forever since I read. So this chapter is chapter 33, Grandpa's Story. It's a little long. Let me turn this light off. Oh, because it just gets so hot in here. Okay, so this is Grandpa's Story. The blue pencil went to school in Ava's backpack, like always, but today it stayed there, even during the math quiz. She actually had a voice in her head now. If she studied anyway, and she had, that pencil, that did the pencil's job more quietly. When Ava turned in her quiz, she was pretty sure she had every answer right. How's your mom? Sophia asked as they walked to the cafeteria. She's fine. Ava stopped at her locker to get her lunch. I mean, she's not fine, but right now she just feels normal. The surgery's not for like a month and a half. That must be weird for her, Sophia said, as they started down the hall again. I mean, knowing that you have cancer inside you and waiting. I think I'd rather not know until the day I had to have the surgery. So there wouldn't be all that time to think about it. I know. Ava sat down at their usual cafeteria table. Boy, did she know. She thought about that and about how much easier it would have been for her to find out her mom had cancer when Marcus and Emma did, instead of getting the pencil's secret news and then waiting and waiting. Certain kinds of information just made you worried and sad. That that's why Ava had never told Sophia what the pencil said about her dad. Sometimes it was better not to know. Can I sit with you guys? Jason smiled down at them, holding his tray full of pizza and milk. Sophia giggled. Sure, absolutely. But I just remembered I was going to help Mrs. Galvin shelf books. Ava stood up. I'll see you guys in gym. Soph. Eva didn't feel bad about leaving. Sophia would be happy to have Jason to herself. He couldn't very well ask her out with Ava hanging around, and Ava didn't need any more reminders that the pencil was always right. The library was a good place to eat lunch anyway. Mrs. Galvin had cookies out for her helpers. Eva, thank goodness you're here. I just processed a whole pile of nonfiction titles that need homes, and they're chocolate chip macadamia today. Mrs. Galvin nodded to the plate on the counter. Eva took a cookie and read the quote next to Mrs. Galvin's computer. A ship in a harbor is safe, but that's not what ships are built for. Below the quote was a picture of a ship sailing out to sea, with storm clouds off in the distance. Eva sighed. She sure wasn't in a harbor anymore. She took a few books headed for the 500s and put two whale books where they were supposed to go. How's life? Mrs. Galvin called over. It wasn't club day, so they were the only ones there. Good. Ava slid a book about honeybees onto the shelf. Well, kind of good and kind of bad. She went back for more books. We just found out my mom has breast cancer. Oh, Ava, I'm so sorry to hear that. How's she doing? She's okay. She feels fine, and it's early, so she's getting to be fine. Saying so out loud helped Ava believe it. She's having surgery after Christmas. Mrs. Galvin nodded. I'll send lots of white light your family's way. Thanks. Ava wasn't sure what that was. Maybe Mrs. Galvin's version of Grandma's CNN prayers, but it was coming from Mrs. Galvin. She was sure it was good. Ava finished shelving the nonfiction and looked for a book to check out. Mrs. Galvin had asked if she wanted one about cancer, but Ava decided she'd probably feel better if she read something funny. So they found one about a girl who's forced to join a marching band even though all she really wants is to play in this super serious orchestra. I think you'll like it, Mrs. Galvin said. On the first day, she drops the big feathery plume thing that goes on top of their band hats, and the whole band starts chanting, Chicken down. The only way she can make them stop is to cluck like a chicken. That sounds horrifying, Ava said, but she laughed. It wasn't her plume after all. She headed to the locker room, got changed for gym, and found Sophia out on the soccer field. Mrs. Snell was a die-hard when it comes to playing outside. Bring a sweatshirt, she always said, because we're heading out until the snow's too deep to run. Ava was fine with that. School air always felt a little stuffy, so it was nice to get outside. Hey, isn't that your dad? Sophia jogged over to Ava and pointed. Yep, the Andersons' car was just turning the corner toward home and the store. They were visiting Grandpa this morning. Is he okay? Yeah, I think so. Ava didn't really want to talk about it anymore. She just wanted to run around and clear her head. She'd figured out on the adventure course that you didn't really have time to be anxious when you were out of breath from exercising. Ava scored a goal and assisted Sophia on another one, and it felt like no time at all had passed when the coach blew the whistle for them to go inside. Ava looked at her watch. That was the quickest 40 minutes ever. Ava pulled open the door and turned to hold it for Sophia when a car, driving fast, too fast, caught her attention. It was her parents, heading back towards the nursing home. Ava's heart sped up. She hurried inside to the locker room, got changed, and pulled the pencil and her legal pad from her backpack. Where are my parents going? To Cedar Bay, the voice said, calm as ever. Why are they going back? Because Thomas called them and told them that they should come right back, the voice said. Ava wished it would just keep talking instead of making her ask questions after question. Why did Thomas tell my parents they should come right back? Because, the voice said, Hank has taken a turn for the worse. Ava stared at her questions on the page and tried to make some sense of her crazy, swirling thoughts. Grandpa was getting worse, maybe even dying, and the voice had called him Hank, like the pencil knew him or something. Did Grandpa ever have this pencil that I'm holding right now in his possession? Yes, the voice said. Now it sounded short, maybe mad. Did Grandpa use the pencil to gamble? Yes, the voice said again. Ava was out of space on the page. She flipped to the next one and wrote, How? He kept a small notebook on his lap at the blackjack table and asked when the dealer's hole card was. That's the card that's face down, the voice said, knowing it gave him an advantage when he decided whether to take a hit on his own hand or not. Ava was surprised to hear that was allowed. She'd seen a TV show about a casino pit boss once, and they seemed super strict about that stuff. They let you do that in the casino? No, they don't, the voice said. He got thrown out as soon as the cameras caught him, but he always had a chance to win a hand or two, and then he'd move on to the next casino and start over. So he won a lot, but then he started losing. And then did Grandpa lose the pencil? Eva thought she already knew the answer. Indeed. When he'd been thrown out of every casino in Las Vegas, he came home and planned a trip to Atlantic City. He lost the pencil before he went. Ava, are you coming? Sophia was waiting by the door. We have to get to study hall. She looked down at the pencil in Ava's hand, took the words off on the page, and shook her head, confused. What's going on? I'll tell you later, I promise. Go ahead. It'll be there in a minute, okay? I have to do this. Okay, Sophia shrugged and walked out, and when the locker room door closed, Ava was alone with the pencil. Why did Grandpa keep gambling after he lost the pencil? Ava thought she heard a sigh. She turned to the door, but Sophia was long gone. She looked down at the pencil in her hand, because he couldn't stop. Ava thought maybe she understood. Maybe it was Grandpa's version of the red shoes. But the pencil wasn't finished. Hank started gambling and kept gambling even after he lost the pencil because he was trying so hard to fill the hole in his heart after I died. After I died. Ava gasped and put the pencil down. She stared at it, just a 3-inch nub now, resting on the wooden locker room bench. The pencil was a person who had died and left Grandpa alone. Ava reached for the pencil, her hand trembling, and wrote in shaky letters, Grandma Marion? The sigh came again. This time, Ava didn't look for Sophia. She knew. Yes, the voice said. Part of Ava wanted to scream and drop the pencil ghost and run away, but the rest of her needed more answers, and she needed the pencil for that. Why didn't you tell me whose voice that was? Because, the voice said, you didn't ask. How did you get inside this pencil? I'm not inside the pencil, the voice said. Ava was actually relieved to hear a bit of its old impatient tone again. As you know, I died 5 years ago.